So if you are not in the Pandemic Pinup private group on Facebook, please request to be added, and then you can partake in our poll about what themes we'll be doing. But this will look very different in about 2 weeks, and it's going to be magical. I'm so excited. You're going to get to experience the nerdism of my holiday love. But as for today, we are exploring a very special bottle per the request of a very special person, Alyssa, also known as LG. We're going to be checking out some Galliano. So let's talk about Galliano before we get started. And actually, let me do like the whole thing so I can edit this for YouTube later and pretend I was actually doing this professionally. So slight pause so I can cut the edit. Welcome to the Pandemic Pinup Happy Hour, guys. Today we will be studying cocktails that involve Galliano Liqueur. So Galliano Liqueur, if you are unfamiliar, is an herbal liqueur from Italy. It does find a place in a lot of bars, but most of the time it ends up on the back shelf. It was very popular in the 80s and 90s in a very classic cocktail called a Harvey Wallbanger. When those fell out of favor, so did the bottle of Galliano, which is very sad, I might add, because it's a beautiful spirit, but we don't really know a whole lot about it. So I reached out to some of my Italian counterparts who are very skilled in all things Italian, obviously. And much to my surprise, 3 of my colleagues are actually, years ago, they partook in the creation of a book of Galliano recipes, which I will be adding the link to our private group later. It's a very extensive book. It includes all of the history of the spirit, a lot of the information about how it's made. It has little like guest pop-ups from Agostino Perrone, who is one of my favorite people. He's an Italian that is a bartender in London at a very, very nice hotel called the Connaught. He is a martini master, but he partook in this and did a lot of Galliano recipes, as well as Dom Costa, who is another one of my preferred Italian colleagues who's really quirky, but he does a lot of the intro for the book. What I love about the book is y'all come to me for Cocktails and Madness on Sundays, and I usually only give you 3. But this book that they put out, it's a link, it's absolutely free. You'll be able to access it later. It has, I want to say, about 80 different recipes. And it has recipes from bartenders around the world. They did focus on places such as England, the US, Italy, I think Germany, New Zealand, and Australia were in there as well. The book is a couple years old, so that doesn't mean the cocktails are outdated, but some of the presentations maybe. But after you explore this with me, I please want to encourage you to explore that book, because this is not even the tip of the iceberg. Because after I did this and then I discovered the book, I was like, oh, wow, I really underplayed what Galliano can do. So I have obviously gone through about half of my bottle just experimenting with the 3 recipes I have created for you guys. I'm probably going to have to buy another bottle so I can make my way through the book. So Galliano, being an herbal liqueur, has a ton of ingredients, and most of them are secret. It is rumored that there are 30 ingredients in Galliano. You'll find certain ones that are known to the public, such as juniper, yarrow, musk, vanilla, a couple other ones in there as well, star anise. What I find really unique about this is to create this liqueur, they make 7 separate infusions and 6 distillations, and then create this. So there is a lot of effort and work that goes into it. And it is named after Giuseppe Galliano, who was a very important person in the Italian military. And the bottle, as you can see, is very, very decorative, long, and it's got these kind of like markings all across the bottle. A lot of people think it's because it might have something to do with like olive oil, but what it actually has to do with is architecture. So it is fashioned after columns in Rome, where a lot of the inspiration for this liqueur happened. So there's all your knowledge for today. Let's move on and make some drinks. So we're going to start with drinks that use Galliano as a modifier, which will be most of the cocktails you find out there. It's really hard to make such a complex, intense spirit the focus of a cocktail, because it tends to overpower everything else. But I did create one where it is absolutely the focus. But we're going to go ahead and start with one that I like to call column G. And I call it that because it's shaped after architectural columns, G because it's Galliano, and I didn't really have any other better names for this cocktail. So if you have a better one, please let me know. So for this cocktail, we are going to use a 3/4 ounce of Galliano, which is quite a bit. A lot of the cocktails you find out there have like about a 1/4 ounce on average, but we're going to use full 3/4. We are going to use another spirit, which is actually going to be the primary base for this cocktail, and it's going to be Applejack, but I'm using straight Applejack 86. So it is an apple brandy, but the 86 is higher proof than just the standard Applejack. It's also not as sweet, and the apple note is really nice. You could use any other brand you like. We're going to use 1 ounce and 1/4 of apple brandy. We're going to keep it boozy and keep adding more alcohol. We're going to do 1/4 ounce of raspberry liqueur. Put that into our shaker as well. Then we're going to use some lemon juice, freshly squeezed if you have it. It's going to be 1/4 ounce of that. And I really hope by now everybody that is tuning in regularly has had time to make a proper saline solution that we visited in our Hack Your Home Bar class. But if you haven't, it's very easy to make. Just kind of reference that. If you need help, just let me know. But if you have your saline handy, you're going to use 1 drop. If you don't have it, I'm not going to lie to you and say this cocktail can't be made. But believe it or not, 1 drop did make enough of a difference for me to include it into the recipe. So make it if you don't have it, but if you do, please use it. So we're going to ice our shaker. We're going to shake that about 10 to 15 seconds. All right. Now there are 2 ways you can serve this cocktail. Just kind of depends on how long you think you'll take to drink it. It is going to be topped off with champagne. So you can serve it up in a champagne flute or a coupe, which means without ice. However, it is pretty boozy, so I like to take my time to kind of sip on this cocktail, so I'm going to serve it with ice. I'm going to put some ice in my glass. I'm going to strain this cocktail over my ice. And then I'm going to top it off with some bubbles. Now you can use any bubbles you prefer. I experimented with both sweet bubbles and dry bubbles. I think dry bubbles are better. I'm using a cava today. Oh, it's a screw top, but that's very uneventful. Yeah, we're just going to top that off with a little champagne. And we are going to garnish it with some raspberries. Now, if you put this in a big glass, you can obviously add a whole lot more champagne. It's entirely up to you how much you want to add. It does alter the flavor quite a bit. So it's up to you. And if you don't have champagne, you can use something like club soda. But that is column G. Cheers. Now I will say, if you do make this at home, I do recommend giving it a little stir before you drink it. If you do this like I did, the only thing you're going to feel at the beginning or taste at the beginning is going to be the champagne, because that's all that's on top. It doesn't really mix as you're just popping it off the champagne. If you wanted to do that without stirring it in your glass, you can pour some of the champagne into your cocktail shaker and then strain the cocktail into your glass. Both of those methods work. But that's column G. I'm gonna put that over here. It's nice, it's fruity. It's really kind of got that like tartness of fresh fruits similar that you would find in like raspberries and lemons. It's not overly sweet. It makes a really nice brunch starter. So yeah, I would say if you're at home having breakfast, this would be a good way to break out that bottle in the middle of the day or early in the morning. We're gonna go ahead and make the next cocktail. The next cocktail has a lot going on, guys. A lot. Calling it the 82nd Regiment, and that's just kind of tip of the hat to Giuseppe Galliano, who is the person that inspired this, the name of this liqueur. He was very important within a lot of the Italian military wars, and the 82nd Regiment was his last regiment before he died in battle. So if you'd like more history, all of that's in the book. It's very fascinating read if you're a history person. But we came here for cocktails. So if you want the history, go make the cocktail afterwards, get drunk on it, and then have yourself a little drunken history episode. So for this cocktail, you're gonna need a shaker again. It's got a lot, so bear with me. We're gonna start off with some pineapple rum. I'm using plantation pineapple rum. I'm gonna say, very honestly, I dislike flavored alcohols for the most part. It is a very hard sell to me, especially when you have the ability to infuse your own. Most of the time when you buy anything that has a flavor in the name or the style, it tastes super artificial. But at the insistence of some of my new virtual friends saying that plantation pineapple rum was absolutely amazing and I was insane if I didn't try it, I finally got a bottle and they were absolutely correct. There's something about the way this rum is made and how when they put the pineapple in with the process instead of like adding these artificial flavors later, it's subtle. You don't feel like you're biting into a pineapple, but you feel like you want to afterwards. And I really enjoy that. It's still very rum forward. It's not incredibly sweet, which was my concern. Rum tends to be a sweeter alcohol. If you add pineapple in that mix, sometimes it just gets really, really wonky, but this is a beautiful spirit. So if you have it, use plantation pineapple rum. If you don't, use regular rum, because I don't know if I really want to vouch for any of the pineapple rum stuff. So we're going to use 1.5 ounces. This is the cocktail that's going to get you served. This one's got a lot of alcohol. You thought the other one had a lot of stuff. This one's boozy, guys. So we've got 1.5 ounces of our plantation rum. We're going to use 1/2 ounce of apricot brandy. And you can kind of see there'll be a little bit of a trend in the cocktails I'm making with Galliano today. There's subtle fruit notes that are coming through. They're not really, really forward, but they complement really nicely with the spices and herbs that are in Galliano. We're also going to use 1/4 ounce of creme de bonhomme or banana liqueur. This is actually a riff that I made off of a recipe that a friend of mine sent me from Italy. I didn't honestly think it was going to work when I read the recipe that he sent me. I'm not a huge fan of banana liqueur. As you can tell, I've had this bottle for a very long time and I don't find enough things to do with it. It's just so strong in the wrong kind of way most of the time. Maybe this will be our next back shelf bottle that I experiment with. But if you want to make this recipe the way my Italian friend makes it, swap the ratios of the apricot brandy and the banana. So for me, I'm using 1/2 ounce apricot, 1/4 ounce of banana. He uses 1/2 ounce banana, 1/4 ounce of apricot. And that's just kind of a testament to how palates are different across the world. Let's see. Got some people chiming in about how many of these you're going to have. Make it with the banana, Algie. Trust me, because I don't like banana. Trust me, I made this for you. You're going to try it with banana. Just once. Or I'm never doing a class for you again. I love when people tell me they don't like stuff. I love it. Because I don't like stuff. And I don't like banana. But this makes it work. Just trust me. Think of it as your simple syrup, not as banana. So, we're going to use some pineapple juice. We're going to use a whole ounce of pineapple. I'll put that in there. I did try this with fresh pineapple juice. It is very good if you are able to do fresh pineapple juice. However, you have to have the most perfect, ripe Hawaiian pineapple of all time. Because if it is just a little too far south, the cocktail becomes incredibly acidic. If it's too far north, it becomes really flat. So sometimes, even though fresh juice is like usually a better option, When it comes to pineapple, pineapple juice when made natural can fluctuate in flavor wildly. So I usually use pre-bought pineapple juice. We're going to use a whole ounce of lime juice. This one is freshly squeezed, absolutely. Put that in there. And then obviously we're missing like the ingredient of the day. This one only has a little bit of Galliano. Got a 1/4 ounce. This is more of a classic cocktail style that would be including Galliano as a modifier. I did try this, amping up the Galliano. Would not recommend. If you want to experiment at home, please do, but I did it for you so you don't have to waste your Galliano. So let's recap because I did a lot of talking in between the measurements. We have 1.5 ounces of our plantation rum, 1/2 ounce of the apricot brandy, 1/4 ounce of banana, looking at you, Algie, 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of lime juice, and 1/4 ounce of Galliano. So I'm going to put ice in my shaker. We're going to do the damn thing, as we say. And about 10 to 15 seconds, give it a little shake. All right. Now, I'm going to serve this in a rocks glass and serve this over fresh ice. I'm going to just put a couple extra ice cubes that I'm going to dirty dump this cocktail, which means I'm taking the contents of my shaker in its entirety, the ice and the liquid. Just pour it into my glass. All right. And then I'm going to garnish that with a little lime garnish. Ooh. Don't break it. And that is the 80-second Regiment. And I'll show you some. I love pineapple cocktails just looking at them because they froth up beautifully. There's no egg white. There's no like weird shakerado thing going on with coffee and tea. It's just pineapple juice. Pineapple juice gets frothy and pretty. So that is the 80-second Regiment. But banana. Where's banana? All right, and last but not least, I know, this glass is my new favorite glass. Got it for all of 30 cents at the thrift store. I have a bit of a glassware problem currently. I have realized I have reverted back to my chef ways, where when I used to do a lot of recipe design and photos and all of those things, I had an inhumane amount of plates that did not match. I think at one point I had like 60 plus plates. None of them were a set, all different shapes and colors and textures. And I didn't think anything of it. But now I live in a smaller home with a bunch of other people, and I have a ton of glassware that doesn't match, and I just keep buying more. I'm probably going to end up filling this room that y'all tune into with my glassware. Eventually, I'll just have maybe a stock room with glassware. But if you didn't know, thrift stores are the best places to find glassware. Some thrift stores are different. They require you to buy like a whole set if they have like 4 of the same kind of glass. But a lot of places will let you buy singular glassware. So Salvation Army and Goodwill are fantastic at letting you buy singular glassware. My local place, Texas Thrift, which is an amazing thrift store, by the way. I know y'all don't have it because, you know, Texas is better than most places. But Texas Thrift is dope. However, most of the time, if they have more than one, they require you to buy the whole set. So I have had issues lately because they have ones that I want, but the set is inordinately large for a thrift store. So they'll have like, I don't know, 14 of these glasses and I only need one. So my neighbors have also received recently a bunch of gifts of glassware. If anybody tuning in would like glassware, because I have to buy these in sets sometimes, let me know. We can have matching glassware next time we're in class. So for the last cocktail of the day, I'm actually really excited about this one. The first one, think brunch. The second one, you need a little extra to get through your day. That's the cocktail for you. But you need to tone it down or pace yourself. We're going to have an afternoon tea. Yes, I'm so down for Glassware thrift exchange. Let's do this. I love sending packages in the mail. I love getting snail mail. I think it is forgotten art. I'm setting up a new batch of gift mail as we speak. So if anybody is down, please reach out. I'm going to do like a Halloween trick or treat through the mail. But our last cocktail, I'm calling it afternoon tea. I wanted to find something that really made Galliano shine, but also was something that you could sip on. Because I think the beauty of Galliano as a spirit is the more time that you have to consume it and sip it within one cocktail, you'll be able to detect all the different notes that are in its flavor profile because the temperature will change in your cocktail. So using actually a pre-bought tea, don't shoot. You can make it at home, but I wanted to, I'm getting a notification that my audio might be choppy. So if y'all have trouble hearing me, please let me know. So I'm using this. I found this at my local store. It's called Matcha Love is the brand. It's an unsweetened Japanese matcha and green tea. Heavier on the green tea, lighter on the matcha. I got this and then I was gonna make my own, but if you don't have matcha, I tried this with just standard green tea, like a little tea bag, brewed it, let it cool, and then use that. Equally as nice. The matcha just adds a little bit of additional bitterness, but in a different type than the one that's in Galliano. So they kind of play off of each other and round each other out. So if you want to make your own matcha green tea, it is not just matcha. It is green tea and then just a pinch or two of matcha powder, stir it in there really nicely, and then use that in your cocktail. If you're fortunate enough to find this, or you have an Asian store close to you, an Asian grocery store, there's a lot of varieties of like a very liquidy matcha ice cream tea that you can find. But it's important that it is unsweetened. So we are going to get out our third and final shaker of the day. And although this is a Galliano forward cocktail, it's still kind of a small amount of Galliano so that you can sip these all afternoon. So we're going to use another 3/4 ounce Galliano. And then we're going to use a Pear Liqueur. So I have Untitled Pear Liqueur. There are a lot of really nice brands out there. My favorite Pear Liqueur is, I think it's Winter and Rothman is the brand, or Rothman and Winter, or Rothman and Orchard. Anybody remember the name of that brand? Feel free to chime in. But it is something Rothman. They make beautiful, beautiful liqueurs. I came across them. We used them where I used to work at Culinary Dropout, combining the Pear Liqueur with Bekarova, or I think I'm saying that correctly, which is from the Czech Republic, and it's like a spice liqueur. It's really nice. But this one's just plain Pear Liqueur. So we have the 3/4 ounce of Galliano. We're going to use a 1/4 ounce of our Pear Liqueur. And this is kind of a flexible cocktail. I really like to make things where y'all can kind of modify at will. I am going to use a tiny bit of simple syrup in this cocktail. I don't like my teas very sweet. I like them to taste like tea. If you prefer your tea sweeter, you can either amp up your sweetness and your booze with some more Pear Liqueur, or you can add more simple syrup than I intend to. So we're going to use 2 full ounces of our matcha green tea. Then we're going to use a 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. And a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Rothman and Winter, thank you. Yes, new for the win. Rothman and Winter is the brand of liqueurs. They also make creme de violette and apricot, which is absolutely gorgeous. But their Pear Liqueur is really, really, really nice. Probably my favorite out of the line of liqueurs that they have. So just to recap, 3/4 ounce Galliano, 1/4 ounce of Pear Liqueur, 2 ounces of the matcha green tea, 1/2 ounce of lemon, 1/2 ounce of the simple syrup. So ice it and shake it. Ooh, they have a cherry. Oh, that sounds amazing. I'll be looking for that at the store next time. So good. All right, again, about 10 to 15 seconds. So this is another dirty dump cocktail. You can add a little bit of club soda or sparkling water if you want to, or if you have any to top it off. I think it does really well without it. I'm gonna just add a little extra ice, top off the glass. My ice cubes are like super irregular shapes right now. So it's making the makeup of my glass not cooperate. Then we're gonna put a little lemon wedge. I'm a sucker for like a classic tea garnish, little lemon, so you can squeeze a little additional sour in there if you'd like. But that, boys and girls, is the afternoon tea cocktail. Cheers. Oh, this is by far my favorite. Out of all the cocktails made today, this is the one. Put it in a pitcher, put a straw in your pitcher, get turned on some Galliano, put a whole lot in there, make a good one. Forget the book, forget all the other people and their recipes, just make this all day. So good. Oh yeah. So the sweetness level, again, is something that will vary depending on the liqueur that you get and how much simple syrup you choose to add and whether or not you're buying your tea, making your tea, or buying a pre-sweetened tea. So those are the cocktails for today. Very quick and easy class. As you can tell, there was a little bit of a switch. We didn't really have any homemade ingredients this week. I wanted to make it easier to use your Galliano, and I know there's a lot of extra bottles that I have here. So if you don't have the bottles that I have that I added in, send me a picture of what's in your cabinet. I'll tell you substitutes you can use. But I would definitely say after doing all these cocktails, I will absolutely be buying another bottle of Galliano when this week is done. And if you check out the book, please include me on your experimentation as you go through it and try other bartenders' recipes, and we can share tasting notes and see exactly how much more we can get out of this Galliano bottle, because we have, like I said, barely scratched the surface. So if you are on Facebook, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the live feed. Hope to see you next Sunday. We'll be doing chemistry and classic cocktails. There'll be a lot of magical color changing, which will be fun. But yeah, if you ever want to hang out after hours, you got to get in the Zoom room. So goodbye, Facebook. See you next time.